always wanted to do this. Thank you, Josh.
There you go.
Makes me feel like the president. Not. All right. Bear with me. Okay, this is my first time. I'm excited to be here. Okay. From Friday, all these activities have been happening. Friday, I came in, and Craig's wife, Beverly, was so gracious to get me to school up in Golden, middle school, to come and talk. Mm-hmm. She pitched the idea, and she caught me on the wrong time when I was trying to finish this sculpture that I created just for Colorado Cocoa, the sea turtle, which you'll get to see in a while after this. The kids here are great. It was neat to teach them new things and learn about the Pacific Gyre. A lot of them didn't know what a current was, Pacific Gyre, what a nurdle was, because it doesn't exist here. But what does exist is the carbon footprint that they could make have an impact in the Gulf or in the Pacific. So that's what I was trying to convey, that even though they're here in Colorado or in New York or in any other part of the world, you still have an impact. So the slideshow is kind of a little bit weird, so I'm going to go slow. I'm going to show you first debris from the from the local beach, and then there'll be some from the river, so I'll kind of point it out what's what and where it was taken. And then I'll show you some of the sculptures that were created out of the debris that I found. One of the things that I have people that hate me and love me. Hate me because they say I'm glorifying trash. I'm not glorifying it. This is my way of conveying that there's a problem. I met with a couple of my colleagues and Margot's colleagues as well in San Francisco back in December of last year. I started doing these robots called plasticobots. I wanted to call them trash bots, but that was already registered and trademarked. So I decided to go with plasticobots. In Spanish, plastic is plastico. Okay? And I figured bots, okay, so we'll go with plasticobots. That's how the name came about. I started that project because I was looking for something to engage my students and create something out of the box using plastic. Now, it wasn't plastic that we found on the beach. It was plastic that they found at home. So instead of throwing it away and recycling, we're going to create a sculpture. So I came across this story of this soldier in Afghanistan that was creating these little action figures out of bottle caps, Gatorade, water bottle. And he was doing this for two reasons. To keep sane from everything that was happening, because he really didn't want to be there, and to give something to the kids that he realized that were having an impact because of this war that they didn't ask. And I was moved, and I'm like, wow, I have an opportunity to do the same thing he had. He had that opportunity, he seized it and took it. It didn't matter that he was in war, he did it. So I said, I'm going to do the same thing. These kids didn't ask for all this plastic pollution. A lot of the animals that are in the ocean are being extinct, are being affected. And a lot of the stuff that's out there, chemicals, pesticides, EPA, and plastic, they didn't ask for that either. So how could we teach these kids that there's hidden dangers and that there's still hope and that we could help? In what way? So I figured, okay, we're going to do an art project. I was hired to come into LA Unified School District after-school program called LA's Best. I know across the nation, art's been packed. And that's one of the most fundamental, basic, but more needed programs in our school system. Because art is creativity. Creativity makes people thinkers, think outside the box. And I know that because I've seen it firsthand. And I've seen it with your students out here in Colorado too. I gave them a challenge. The award is one of the sculptures. And they've accepted the challenge. There's still hope. And I know that it doesn't matter how many times we hear discouraging words that you think that change is really going to make a big impact. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If we think about that drop of water that hits that limestone constantly, it will make a hole eventually. But it's there. So, only fools litter. This is in Malibu. It was funny because it caught my eye at the time, and I'm going to go with medium so we get to the other one. And still, I went to go get a sample of sand on this beach because we do a project where the kids will sift through the sand and see what particles of plastic are in the sand, man-made and organic material. And why isn't this working? Okay. This is a shopping cart. This is in the LA River. This is after 4 days after the storm, November of last year. Go back to that one. Okay. This is the LA River. This is actually in March. You can see what kind of interesting things besides plastic I end up finding. Usually I'll do these little piles, and I'll call the city and I'll tell them to come pick it up. They hate me. But I'm going, you're not paying me. So it's a win-win for everybody, right? The thing is that a lot of the community that lives nearby the LA River, which is 51 miles of the LA River and the gateway to the Pacific Ocean, we're seeing a lot of this stuff. It's not all concrete. I know in the movies you've seen, Grease is one of them, the concrete. It's not all like that. There's parts that are estuary, and this part is actually where the estuary is at. That's one of my favorite spots. But you can see the bottom of what was once a shopping cart, which means this has been in the river for quite some time. Lucky for me, I found it. This is one of our neighbor volunteers here. You can see his leg. That, I don't know what that was. It was a piece of plastic and what looks like pipe and some burlap. A lot of people use the river just to dump. This was in Long Beach, not that far from where Pam, my friend Pam, used to live. You can see what's there in the seaweed. You guys can identify it. You guys can identify it? It's a piece of plastic bag. Oh, yeah. See, and that's the thing. I could identify these things because I see them on a daily basis. And it's sad. Okay, now this is one of my most important finds. Do you guys know what this is?
Something bitten by
Styrofoam. Something bitten? Who said styrofoam? Styrofoam.
Look at the plankton.
All those exact barnacles growing? Yeah. Okay, barnacles are not supposed to be growing on plastic. They are not, but it does. And why? Because it's a foreign object and it's just floating out there. Barnacles are living organisms that don't know any better and say, hey, this is plastic, should I attach myself? They don't know that. Now all the bite marks that you see, those are actually fish that actually bit into that. I believe this piece is on the board the surfboard I created for Coco. So you can see it on the styrofoam package on that one. This is the LA River. And this is part of our wildlife. I know there's hope because wildlife is coming back to try to reclaim what's once theirs. And us, as environmentalists, as people who care, have to have that happen. We're trying to bring back the steelhead trout. But the sad thing about this picture is that piece of styrofoam that's right there floating. It doesn't belong there, but it's there. This is the LA River Bikeway. I don't like biking there anymore. And the reason why is because there's a large encampment of transients that don't help the LA River. And I say that because they'll go into the neighborhoods, bring the trash bags, sort it out, dump the rest. And unfortunately, where they are, there's a place called Chavez Park, right into Queen Mary's Bay. And that's where the net that we set to capture most of the big debris from the LA River. Eventually, a lot of the small stuff makes it. This is on the beach. Now, the reason why I took this picture was, and you'll see some more, and I'm going to point something out. A lot of us have become numb to the problem of plastic. You can see a footprint right there. Somebody walked right by it and didn't bother to pick it up. I've noticed a lot of that happening. You'll see some of the pictures. Here goes. I can tell you exactly what's there, but you guys already know. But there's one little thing there that I see that maybe you don't see. Okay. Can anybody tell me?
The black hair tie.
Okay, that's organic. That's a piece of seaweed.
Oh,
okay. That big chunk that looks like a rock.
Styrofoam.
You guys know it's styrofoam. Okay. It had algae building up because it's brown colorization. Okay. You see the feather? But right under the feather, in between that little black string, there's a little tiny piece of plastic called a nurdle.
Oh, yeah. What is a nurdle?
A nurdle is a piece of plastic they use for, they're little tiny beads. Oh, Beanie Babies have those.
Oh, yeah.
Packaging has those.
Ooh.
Now, those are pretty lethal because fish do eat those thinking they're fish eggs.
Right.
And then, again, styrofoam. Styrofoam. We get a lot of styrofoam. Styrofoam. Again, a footprint back there. Right here, a piece of a large Lego, rubber ball, there's so much plastic in just this one picture. Organic material, but you still see plastic. Piece of styrofoam. Again, you can see the footprints. It's close by the water. Nobody moved it. I moved it. Once I take the picture, I get it out of there. Again, you were there for my talk. It's my moral responsibility. It's everybody's moral responsibility. The same one, so you can see the track. This is for you, Pam, so you can reminisce. Queen Mary, that hill over there, San Pedro, that's part of LA County's harbor, the largest harbor. Port of Long Beach, and the LA harbor, of course. That dome used to house the spruce goose. Now Hollywood uses it for movies, they've done Spider-Man and stuff. Anyways, and you can see the harbor, and you can see the longshoremen's cranes and everything back there. But that footprint is what got me. It's like somebody passed by and didn't give a damn. They didn't pick it up. They didn't pick it up. And that one piece alone will have catastrophic consequences. Again, styrofoam, water bottle, footsteps, and this person must have gone around and decided, oh crap, I gotta go back, I gotta put more money in the meter. Didn't pick it up. This is Bolsa Chica Beach, Orange County, after the rains. You can see all the plastic cigarette butts, pieces of plastic, styrofoam. Josh, how many minutes do we have? Water bottle. Okay, I'm gonna speed it up. Okay. This picture, what do you guys think that resort-looking thing is? Does it look like a resort?
Nuclear power plant.
Okay, here, I'll give you another picture.
Not nuclear, it's some kind of.
That's it over there in the back. Okay, they're actually, it's an oil rig. Disguised. The people that live on Ocean Beach have money. We don't want to see it. And they decided to do this back in the 70s to make it look a little prettier. You know, they wanted to give it that cosmetic uplift. But look at all the debris that's there after the rains. And a lot of it comes from the LA River. Look at all the people, well, look at the 3 people that are jogging over there. A lot of people use that beach for recreation, like you guys use the hills and mountains and everything. We use the beach. But nobody cares enough to clean it. See the picture. Lethal to sea turtles and other marine animals. Aerosol cans, we get them by the millions, even after the rain, because again, 51 miles of river, treasure trove. This is my backyard. All this is my backyard. And the thing about bamboo, that's not an indigenous plant to the LA River. Somebody just dropped it and it grew wild. The city of Long Beach doesn't want to pay money to remove that. It costs too much because it'll go back. It doesn't matter if they miss one piece, it'll sprout right back. But it's a perfect net for all this. And you can see the results. And you have basketballs. There's one area that I dubbed the court because it catches all, I don't know, for some reason it catches all the balls. This is a little bit of a closer perspective. Okay, now these are my kids in Watts. They selected a marine animal. They started doing a collage with all the plastic plastic trash that they found on campus, and they did a pledge. So they pledged and promised that they were going to do this. So that's what my kids were learning about. And they're engaged right here. Get a better look right here. Before this, they didn't know anything. They didn't know, bear with me. They didn't know the impact that they had. These are my second graders. I did this. And then one day, and I left it to this little boy. He came over to me and he said, Mr. Claudio, I found some trash and it's a lot. And I go, where is it? So he gave me the direction where it was. It wasn't that far from the school. And it was here. That trash was there for almost 3 weeks. Okay? We were expecting rain, it didn't happen, but that trash was there for 3 weeks. Before that, those kids would walk every day right by that pile and didn't really say anything. But when they started learning about plastic trash and debris that would make it to the gutter, they said, Mr. Claudio, if the city doesn't remove that trash, it's gonna make it into the gutters and it's gonna hurt sea turtles and dolphins. And I'm like, yes, they know, they get it. This is the part where the estuary is at. You can't see it because it's underwater right now. This is after the rain, but you could see all the residue on the side of all the accumulation of trash that's coming down, that's being washed and flushed out to the Pacific Ocean. This is a, do you guys know? What? Backpack? You put your golf clothes in.
Wow.
Yeah. More debris. It goes floating away. Slush of debris. Now this is a range of the river. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of transients have died because they don't take heed of the warnings that the storm's coming and they don't move. A lot of them live hidden in the trees so nobody will bother them. But you can see the range. The reason why I took this picture, because this is the closest thing that I could see that the Pacific Gyre is. That little vortex right here was just going like this, around and around. And I watched it for a while. I should have filmed it. But I watched it for a while, and it started small, and it started growing and growing and growing because more trash was coming in.
We lost some activity at the site.
We'll talk afterwards. All right. This is Ron J. The reason why I picked this little boy here is because he was one of my most difficult students, but I outsmarted the whole class. I made these medals of honor.
Nice.
That one had an octopus, I think. I created this coloring page for turtle restoration in San Francisco. I created one for Coco as well, so get your copy, it's upstairs. This little kid, single mother, father was in jail, and was one of my most brightest and upcoming students. And this little boy lost 2 of his family members because of violence in the streets. And when I left, and I get a little emotional, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
He wants to be a marine biologist. And I'm gonna move because it's gonna be dry. This little boy was sharp, Andrew. He would remember everything. You would ask him where the Pacific Gyre, he would say San Francisco, Hawaii, middle, twice the size of Texas. This little boy was sharp. This little boy made everybody shine. We had one of the city councilmen from LA come over for Earth Day. That day I had 3 events. They asked me to be there, I was there. These kids made themselves shine and it was amazing. I really honestly didn't think they could remember everything, but they did. He is a 2nd grader. There's still hope. 2nd grade, they get it. This little boy made an impact. He goes, Mr. Claudio, I told my uncles to stop smoking because they're killing the fish. And I go, how is that? This is my class. He goes, because they throw the cigarette butts out the window. So I told them to get an aluminum can and put them inside instead of throwing them out. That was the solution. You give them a problem, they'll find a solution. This is my class, part of it. A beach with a butane lighter, Fritos, container of those little mints.
Oh yeah.
There's a better, closer view. Oh, and a Hershey's wrapper. That's what it was. Air freshener, lid, bunch of knurls, you can probably see some more. Miscellaneous pieces of plastic. You guys know what that is. Foam, and you'll see some knurls amongst that. Shoe, this is after the rains. So you can see the amount of trash. Capri Sun or Kool-Aid, but mostly Capri Sun, those things are in abundance. You can see right here where the water meets, and it just keeps on washing and washing and washing inward. Blood.
Wow.
Motor oil. A can of soda that hasn't been opened, right over there. Aerosol a bunch of other stuff in there. Oh, this one was a good one. This one had barnacles. Do you guys know what this is?
Battery?
Right, bingo. There you go.
No.
What's it say? Acid, poison? Yeah, well, to the fish as well, because it doesn't belong there.
Oh.
Another one. Same picture, toothbrush. That, to me, product stewardship, I would love for this country to have a product stewardship program, but they don't. Some states want to do it, but they're not doing it. This thing used to hold 2 gallons of milk, family size.
Right.
How many hours do we have? Why can't we do this? We don't need that. That's another thing. It's just not right. A lid, PVC pipe, wrappers, shell case, shotgun. That was weird because we never see this, but it was there. Again, LA brings a lot of a menagerie of plastic. Dog and Hoss. It looks like a plastic Disney doll of some kind.
Doll dress, maybe.
Orkin. Those are those rat bait traps. Yeah. Sandal. See a lot of that. There's a plastic bottle there. Prop. Oh, this is a good one.
Send that to Crawford.
I asked a lady that was enjoying the beach, did you see that? Yeah. Why didn't you move it? It's not my problem. So I moved it. Footprint. Now these are my kids again. What we did is we sifted sand to teach them the effects of plastic, what's having in beach sand as well, not only in the water but also in the sand. There were submarine shell, organic material, and plastic. We did this project at Golden as well, and the kids loved it. The way I did it was, who watches CSI? Oh. Guess what? You guys are CSI ocean scientists, and we're going to find how much plastic is in the sand. So you can see here the kids. What
Did
they
you
were
did you take them down to the Clear Creek?
No, didn't have time. Everything was improvised, so we brought samples from Orange County.
Okay.
And actually, Craig's wife has the samples, so I'm going to send you the information just so that they could do something different but also connect.
Yeah, because we've lots of this on the Clear Creek where they
Mhm.
live.
So this is what one of their paper plates, they separate in 4 categories. These are my kids right here. A little blurry picture. It was Ron J right here. He was really engaged.
Yeah.
D'Angelo. This is it. D'Angelo was the one with the red shirt. Ah, here we go. Sculpture. This is a hammerhead shark made out of an old 20-year-old handheld Logitech scanner for the head, Coca-Cola for the eyes, laundry detergent, all bottle for the fins, and random pieces of plastic. The ridges that you see right there used to be an air exhaust of a car that I found on the street. I pick up from my bike rides, beach, or the other river. If I see it, if it's in my path, that's my environment, so I have to pick it up. This one is a robot, and again, I kind of capitalized on the popularity of the Transformers when I first started this. You can see the plastic spoons, disposable razors, bottle caps, caps from syringes, body where the chest part are made out of spoons, and the bottom torso is actually a Christmas ornament. This is a turtle. I'm not sure if this is the one I shipped to you, Margot. We'll get to it. But you can see the abundance of butane. Butane lighters are
Actually, wait.
a lot. They're in abundance. But they're all butane lighters. The shell is made out of a rotisserie chicken container. You see the bread ties on the crest of the turtle. It has Bionicles, Legos. I try to research where this plastic came from. If it has a name, I look for it. Christmas ornament, that little black part that's holding it is actually part of a drip irrigation that they use in Santa Monica. I know it came from Santa Monica because I found the burlap bag that said something something lawn services Santa Monica. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. No smoking. You can see the Queen Mary in the bed. This is the sad part. Do you guys see that plastic bottle
Yeah.
and those caps? It didn't make its way to the it's one of these numbers.
Right.
Oh well, the next guy will pick it up. But the next guy doesn't pick it up. I was there when it happened. And I'm looking at him hoping he was gonna pick it up. You moron. But it happens. The wildlife there, pigeon, waiting for food, and the seagull too. Again, debris, plastic debris. Now these are little piles. The one thing they do there, because we get a lot of tourists in Long Beach, is they have these tractors that come and just pick up this thing and make mounds of trash. Problem is that most of the stuff with the wind will come up, pick it up, and take it right back into the water. Doesn't do anything. Doritos, plastic. McDonald's, thank you. Lipstick. That ball actually came from one of those playpens at McDonald's or Burger King. I find a lot of them. And if you guys take or participate in the workshop that I'll be doing, I brought a lot of the ocean debris, and it's all been cleaned. But you'll see everything that I found. We're going to do a two-dimensional sculpture of a sea turtle that's going to stay here in Boulder. And for the teachers, if you guys want to use that, contact Vicky. Because it'll be at your disposal. Yeah. Rope made out of plastic, piece of styrofoam. This, somebody's bright idea, they had a good idea because they didn't buy it to make a little bucket, but that used to be a laundry detergent. Gain, actually, is the laundry detergent bottle that they use for this, and they just left it. That's the only bad thing about it. There's a bottle cap right there, and there's a piece of what was styrofoam from a cup right over there. I felt bad because I couldn't catch that piece of styrofoam. So, piece of what was once a toy car, plastic toy car, piece of styrofoam. Now this is what I wanted to show you. Barnacles growing. This had in the inside, I don't know if I have that picture, that little black spot right there was a mussel that was growing in there. It attached itself. I still have to ask, or maybe you know, Josh, how long do barnacles take to grow on stuff? You know? Josh is...
Very long time.
Yeah, okay. So this thing has been floating in the water for quite some time. I find, see, there's almost, oh, I did get it. It had like maybe about 3 of them in there. So I threw it away. Okay, the reason why I have this, Pam knows this. Every morning I go out there for 3 hours and I go and pick up trash. Some of this trash is here today. Yay! But I do this and I document it, what I find. And you can see, that was in 3 hours. My backpack could only fit so much. But
That's one day?
that's in 3 hours. That's in 3 hours. Because I walk about 4 miles and I see what I pick and I sort what I want. What you're not seeing is what I throw away. So I usually carry about 3 bags with me to throw away, and once those get full, that's it, I turn back. But I bring back to use for the artwork. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on this, let's see, okay. All those tiny little speckles, white speckles, are all nurdles. That net that we have is not gonna catch that. It's not going to catch that. It's not that refined. Styrofoam plate, styrofoam cup, coffee cup. This is the LA River. Do you guys know what that is?
Oh, cell phone.
Cell phone. You don't know how many cell phones I find.
Really?
I do, because I see him in your artwork.
That's right.
Blows my mind. It blows my
Again,
mind.
this was a mile away from the first picture I took. All nurdles. And a piece of a cup,
Is there a
styrofoam.
plastic factory here
No.
in Long Beach? Isn't there one?
No,
south?
not in Long Beach. In between Compton and Compton and El Segundo. There's manufacturers out there, and then the train rail's not that far from the river too.
Right.
So it makes
They
its
drop
way. It
them
doesn't
off,
matter. It
right.
makes its way in. Here goes a closer shot because I
Wow.
wanted you guys to see the magnitude of this. If you Google and look at fish eggs, they're going to look exactly like that.
Right.
Problem is that these particles of plastic become smaller and smaller and smaller, and it does affect the food chain because fish do get to it. some more debris. LA River, a lot of the stuff that gets stuck. LA River, LA River. This is my dad. My dad. My dad's retired. My family's really supportive. And they're proud of what I'm doing. And I told them why I was going to do it. I went through a divorce. This is my midlife crisis. I'm doing this. My dad goes out there, and it's funny. Sometimes I don't go and walk with him out here because I like going to the beach. And he comes back with bags of butane liners. Hey, look what I found for you. And he's got his little bag there on the side. I don't know if you can see it. But he's out there with a stick going like this, making sure he's not going to sink in that patch. Dad, don't go there. But there's plastic. And it's a lot. He acts like it's a gold mine, but it's not. This was a piece of plastic on the other side of the river. The other side of the river, we don't like going there, but this year I am because the city cleared a lot of this stuff out, which is great. Because a lot of the trash is not going to get stuck there anymore. Ball. Wildlife coming back, but I was telling you. This area right here, concrete, and then boom, the estuary starts. And it's a good mile of estuary, which I love. There's a lot of beauty to the LA River, and a lot of people don't want to see it. That's why they don't care. So people like myself that can convey that there is beauty, want to try to struggle to survive, and I need to push for the survival of the river, and also the wildlife. Laundry detergent, which I picked up and I used. You guys know what that is, right? Packing material?
Oh, yeah.
Shopping cart. A lot of transients lose this, and when the rains come, they just abandon it. The ones that make it out. This is what I'm fighting for. And I'm going to tell you why. Why I love sea turtles so much. Give you a little background really quick. My great-great-grandfather came from the Italian island called Ischia, right? Naples, Ischia is out here. He used to go fishing a lot to the Gulf of Mexico and just decided to stay. So he married in Mazatlan and he stayed. So a couple generations, my grandfather comes around. And in the area, they have a lot of these green sea turtles that come and lay the eggs. My grandfather was hired to be kind of equivalent to a park ranger to protection of the sea turtles. So during the 50s, there was an abundance of sea turtles in Mazatlan. I'm doing it for every child that wants to learn about the ocean, but also the one little fan and my little model is my niece Izzy. She loves sea turtles. When she was fighting her cancer, her favorite little thing was to snuggle was a pink sea turtle. And she loves sea turtles. So my brother went on vacation and took her to a place where they released the sea turtles, and that was one of the ones. She didn't want to touch it because she was like, I'm going to hurt it. But my family always has a connection with sea turtles, so my way of conveying the message is creating sculptures of art. I'm not glorifying it, but to show the effects of plastic. All this trash, and I'm passing over here because they didn't get to see it, was on the sand. Was on the sand. So when I give one of these away, I explain. Cousteau understands the message right away. I was at a speaker's gathering right now. I wasn't expecting him to break out with that. And he mentioned me and said, this is what's so important to save these animals. And he started explaining, again, I'm an emotional person. It's not Latin in me.
We like that.
I started getting teary. Like, whoa. One day I decided to do this. With gloves, of course. Pick up cigarette butts. This is the #1 beach litter that the California Coastal Commission has reported. Every year we find this. And the bad thing about it, people was like, what's so bad about it? I go, well, it's not only bad for the fish and for you, but it also has plastic. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. The filter. Plastic fibers. Again, Capri Sun. Josh, how much time?
It's time to wrap it up.
Okay, so, I am sorry. Here goes fragments again. And I apologize. I went over. A dead bird, not an albatross. It's more of kind of a crane. cigarette butt. This is a gutter near my house. So you can see, Long Beach did these little traps. I don't know if you can see it. They catch, but it doesn't catch everything. But most of the big stuff it does. I came with a push broom and I picked that stuff up. Again, more responsibility. This is, again, LA River. This is near the Queen Mary, actually. Actually, where the Catalina boats are. I did this graphic. It says, danger, plastic in our ocean. Enter at your own risk. That was a campaign I did for Heal the Bay. And I'll end it with this. That's my niece, Izzy. And just things around Long Beach, LA. That was up in Pasadena after the Rose Bowl. This is my backyard, some of the pictures you've seen. This is San Pedro, where the chemicals are flushed daily. And that's my niece. I picked this picture because she's looking at the ocean. This picture represents to me, there's still hope. And with that, I wrap it up.